Hi everyone. It's me, Enoch, back with another webinar, and I hope you're excited for this webinar. About me, I'm a security intern at CW Labs, and I am going to be presenting the webinar on the topic an analysis of public AWS AMI security risks. So this is going to be based on a research that is done by a couple of people, and I'm just going to be presenting a few insights of my own. And this will be a very brief session, not too long, not so long. And we'll keep it. We'll try to keep it short, and we'll have a fun AMA session after this. So it's going to be a short webinar, and it's I will have resources to the research at the end of the slide, so you can go through it yourself and have a better understanding. So I highly recommend that you go through the research yourself. So what I'm going to be presenting today is just the insights and a general overview of the research. So we're going to be covering four things today. We're going to be first have a brief overview of the case study. We're going to see the impact and what impact would that could have if it was not handled properly. And we're also going to be going over the lessons learned and best practices. And at the end, as I mentioned, we're going to be having an AMS session. You can ask questions about the courses or the exams, the labs, the challenges, or anything in general in cybersecurity. So feel free to do that. So we'll keep the session short, and let's dive into the first module. So case study overview. So the research is based on AWS. As you may know, you must have heard AWS. So it's Amazon Web Server, and in that, a couple of researchers were able to find images. So AMIs. We're going to be covering AMIs. So if you're not familiar with AMI, it's basically just like a virtual machine that is pre-configured, and you can spin it up anytime you want, and then resume your work on that. They are more like virtual machines, which are provided by Amazon. So Amazon virtual machine images, AMIs. There are two types of images basically. One is the official trusted AMIs images, and the other is community ones. So you can have your own AMI and publish it. So what really happened was, there's a feature where you can publish your AMIs to public. By default, AMIs are private, and it is not an easy task to make it public. So uh, s- th- the issue here is, AMIs which have secret credentials or sensitive information were published to the open to open to everyone, and in that, anyone could actually spin up the AMIs and view the credentials inside and sensitive information, which would be quite disastrous. But lucky for us, a few researchers were able to find this issue, and they researched this potential vulnerability, and not vulnerability, I would say a security flaw, and they have listed written out a very extensive research on that. So what actually happened was, if you go through the research which was published here, actually a researcher was you know providing service to a client, and they found out that AMIs were public, and it had confidential information and sensitive credentials and all those things. And after the contract, he actually was curious if there were any public AMIs which had such credentials. Were there any major organizations which had public AMIs? And he started to research on that. So here is the full entire research, and it is quite lengthy. I would recommend that you go through that. So what really happened, as I mentioned, sensitive credentials were hard coded into the Amazon mission images, and they were made public for some reason. As I mentioned, it is not easy to make an image public. It is private by default. Amazon restricts it by default, and maybe due to carelessness or lack of security awareness, the images were actually published, and the hard coded credentials and the sensitive information were not removed prior to publishing the images. And and those researchers were able to collect, gather all these images using AWS CLI. They had, if my notes are correct here, they actually confirmed 3.1 million of AMIs, which were public. So they could not go through all 3.1 1 million Amazon images, machine images, but they had to narrow it down. And those were just from 27 AWS regions. So they were able to gather around 3.1 million AMIs from 27 AWS regions, and further research, they narrowed down it to 26,000 images, which had potential sensitive information in it or credentials in it. So they use various tools like CLI tools, and basically they could narrow it down to a few thousand AMI images, and it is all mentioned in the research. And They had a few bottlenecks. They had a few issues like how they could extract such information, or how they could find such information in all those 26,000 public AMIs. It is not an easy task, and they had to use a lot of tools. They had to write their own custom tools and stuff to actually find something, find an impact, to actually show that it is impactful and it is something that should be resolved as soon as possible. And and They had various methods, as I mentioned. They had various methods, and we'll go over through that. um, we'll go over through that in a few minutes. And Let's see the impact. So the impact were, API keys were present, credentials were present, and anyone could actually spin up these machines and extract these credentials from inside it, and they could perform a large scale cyber attack, or unauthorized access. So things like API keys and bills and addresses, all those stuff. And also, most importantly, they were able to find repository links to private repository links, which with access tokens. So that would be actually quite disastrous, and someone could actually find 0 day of exploits or CVEs and actually exploit them in the wild. So that is one impact of the incident. And second will be financial losses. So in the research, they actually figured out a way to check the available credits, or the balances, or uh, the amount which was linked to the AMI, to the Amazon machines. They could actually run these instances, and they could actually basically run any malicious things on those AMI images, and they could use it for malicious purposes, but they didn't do that. They actually published this research. So there might have been a huge financial losses, and thirdly, reputation damage. Imagine a company. I in the video, I was able to hear that companies which were actually in the Fortune 500, even they had public AMIs which had credentials in it, sensitive credentials in it. And imagine such a big company losing its reputation over a cyber incident, and that would be disastrous. And regulatory issues, as you know, it was violating all those GDPR regulations, because being so careless with data and credentials, they are actually going against all these violations, I mean regulations. So it went against the regulation issues and increased attack surfaces. Nobody knows what you can do with all this information. You can have an extensive information gathering. You can extract all these credentials. They can perform a mass cyber attack, or attack to the organization, and that would be quite disastrous. And intellectual property, laws of intellectual property, they could as I mentioned, they can view the repository code. They can find 0 day exploits, or they can find CVEs and then exploit it in the actual software. So that would be also quite disastrous. Now, lessons learned and best practices. So what do we learn from this research? Although it was not actively exploited in the wild, but these researchers were able to find these issues, and get it fixed. So what lessons can we learn from this incident, or from this research. So I've gathered on a few points that we can actually learn, and the best practices which we can involve when you're working with AWS and all these cloud services. So first of all is limit public AMIs. As I mentioned, AMIs are private by default. Amazon knows this, and they actually restrict it to private. But due to lack of security awareness, or lack of, or being careless, or anything, these AMIs are made public, and we have to always make sure that sensitive data is always cleaned up. If we have a situation that we have to make an AMI public, we have to make sure that all the credentials are cleaned, and the images are cleaned, and does not have any sensitive or confidential information for the matter. And secret management, we should always use AWS Secret Manager, or all those various tools which we have. Instead of hard coding these credentials, we can use all these tools, and Amazon itself provides a lot of secret managers, so we can actually use that instead of depend or instead of hard coding the credentials in the Amazon, in the AMIs. And we have to also, as I mentioned, it is because of carelessness, or they may be unaware. So we have to educate these teams, the developers must be thought about security, and they should be focused on security. Although security is another domain, they have to be developers, they have to be at some level, they have to be aware of security. So we can train the developers and cloud engineers to have secure coding practices, and we can inform them about the risk of all these public AMI images which can be public, and if they're not sanitized properly, what are the effects, negative effects that it can cause. And as I mentioned, yeah, private AMIs, we can, let me just make it full screen. Yeah, we can always, Amazon has provided us with restricted private AMIs. We can keep it restricted unless necessary. We have to make it public. So, and also we can use automated tools like Trufflehawk, and all these tools which Amazon has inbuilt to actually find any hard coded credentials, or any sensitive credentials which are hard coded to AMIs. And also enforce least privilege. Always make sure that privileges more than required is not given. We have to always run tasks with the least privileges, and instead of just blindly giving out permissions to all the services, we can restrict users, and we can restrict services to a specific IAM policies, so that we can have much better security, and prevent all these things in the first place. And also we have to make sure that we encrypt sensitive data, and we have to store it in a very protected manner. We have to give more importance to in terms to storing sensitive credentials or data in the AMIs. So I've listed a few research here. I mean, the research here. So there's a DEF CON talk which was given. If you are interested in, having the video version, and um, you're interested to listening the researchers presenting the research, you can actually, watch the video, and it was presented in a DEF CON. And I have the link to the article which I'm referring you to, so you can have a read. And it is not much, it would take just 40 minutes, but I highly recommend that you read the research, and it's quite fun. And you can actually you can actually experience the process that they're doing. They have uh, to be honest, they have done a lot of work to get this research up and running, up, and to do this stuff, to reach the point that they can show impact. So they explain all the procedures that they have done, all the tools they have used, and all the bottlenecks they had to go through, all the issues they had faced, and how they were able to responsibly disclose this issue, to the organizations. And also they were able to collaborate with AWS security team, to reduce the impact, and actually make them aware of these issues. So they explain the entire process, and it's quite fun to go through both the video and the article. But I highly suggest that you go through it. Uh, and a fun thing is that they actually use the find command to narrow down these secrets. They actually use the Linux utility, the find command, to actually navigate through all these folders and find the secrets. So the method which they used to extract this information is quite interesting. So I would like to mention the method that they used. So what they did was they had access to all these public AMIs, right? And what they had was they started a normal EC2 instance, and then they also started an EC2 instance with the public AMIs, right? Which they think have sensitive information. So they also started the EC2 instance with the public AMIs. And what they did was they mounted the the disk of the AMI machine in to their EC2 instance, and they actually automated the entire process. So this was actually done automatically, and since they had to go through thousands of AMIs, so they had to write scripts and code to do these things. And a little bit of manual work was involved, but they could mostly automate this stuff. They could just pin up the Amazon AMI machine and turn it off, and extract the data from the disk volumes. So that way they didn't have to pay a hefty Amazon bill, or they didn't have to do it all manually, and they could minimize the chances of errors, and do this research and publish this, and gather this data and see what all these AMIs have. So the method which they used was quite interesting, and I really liked it. So they mentioned these things in both the video and the article. So feel free, I will link it up in the slides. So feel free to go through those. And now we have, as I promised, we have an AMS session. And as I mentioned, it was a quite short webinar, and we'll be focusing on the AMA much more. So if you have any questions, you can ask me anything, and I'll do my best to respond. And also, we are running an 81% discount on the MCRTA course. So now is a chance, take advantage, and uh, take advantage of the course, and then you can learn more about the cloud red teaming side. So we'll get into the AMA, and yeah, use the coupon code MCRTA at 9 to get an 81% discount. So I will be taking questions. If you have any questions, you can feel free to ask me, and anything basically about the courses, exams, or anything related to cybersecurity, or even the MCRTA discount. So feel free, and I will try to answer as much as possible. So if you guys don't have any questions, I would just want to remind you that MCRTA course is running at 81% discount. You can get it for just $9. The usual price is $14, and with this coupon code MCRTA at 9, you can have it for $9. And yeah, you feel free to take advantage of this course, of this offer while it lasts. And again, if you have any questions, I'll be here for a few minutes, and feel free to ask your questions. Uh, I will walk you through the MCRTA course that we're offering in our website. So we have an interesting cloud security path here, and I'll walk you guys through it. So this is a roadmap that we have created for the red teaming cloud training path, cloud security path. So we have courses like MCRTA and CHMRCTS, and we also have CRTS, which will teach you all about AWS cloud red teaming, and We also have Google Red Team Specialist, CGRTS. So you can use this roadmap to structure your learning accordingly, and take cover each one by one, and then you can have a pretty solid idea about cloud pen testing and cloud security. So see, we have also mentioned the skills which you'll be learning um, with each course. So you can also, after this, you can actually take the exam, and then you get a certificate, and then we test your knowledge. uh, what you've learned, so we'll be testing that. So we have a good solid examination, we have good labs also, and yeah, so take advantage of this opportunity of 81% discount on the MCRTA. Um, so we have labeled it as beginner, intermediate, advanced, and you can actually use this roadmap. And if you have any questions regarding this, you can ask me, or later if you have any questions regarding this, you can use the help section. You can actually chat with the team, and then we'll be happy to assist you. So you guys have any questions regarding this, regarding any of this learning paths, or if you want to know more about exams, or or anything general about the paths and training we offer at CWL. So if you have any of that, you can feel free to ask me right now, and I'll be able to help you with that. Yeah, Ji, you've raised your hands. You do have any questions? You can type it out in the chat section, and I'll be able to see it from here. So you guys have any suggestions um, for the webinars, for the upcoming webinars? You can put the suggestions here, and we'll try to take the suggestions and create webinars. So if you want webinars on any topic, any specific things which you want, or any domain, or any you know uh, tech in that, for that matter, if you have any suggestions, you can leave it in the comments, and we will try to make webinars on that. So if you have any suggestions for topics, any for the webinar, you can post it here. Yes, this is respect to cloud security, and yeah, so we have all these pathways for cloud security, and we have any plans to do Azure red teaming. I cannot say much, but we are working on that, and you can expect something on Azure. But yeah, thank you for the suggestion, and I'll pass it on to the team. Any discount on the AWS and CHMRTS? Not sure about now, but keep your eyes open. We might have discounts. I'm not sure, um, but we'll see what we can do. Any other queries? You can, I'll be here for a few more minutes, and feel free. Okay, if that's all for okay, does content of cloud security path include cloud red teaming? Yeah, we have cloud red teaming. We do have, yeah, cloud pen testing. Yeah, we do have cloud pen testing. Um, so you can go through this website of ours. You can go to the training path and cloud security path, and you can have a bit, brief description about each of these, what we offer in each of these courses. So you can go through that, and you can purchase this if you're interested. Yeah. So if you read this description, you can see actually we have cloud environment penetration testing. So in the MCRT also we have that, and even for the CHMRTS we have pen testing. It's involved in all of these courses. So we do have pen testing. Okay, if that's all for the query, I will be ending the session. Um, okay, that's great that you're interested. Please do check them out. Uh, Okay, everyone. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope to see you in the next webinar. Till then, bye.